Hello, happy International Museum Day to everyone. I hope I can make a humble contribution to this dialogue protecting our cultural heritage in this third session, partnering with the private sector. We can think about protecting our cultural heritage considering many different perspectives and players: museums, governments, police, auction houses, galleries, lawyers, etc. We already talked about most of them in today's dialogue. Now, I would like to contribute sharing some of our experience. In this 2022, the Gabarron Foundation makes 30 years since its inception in Valladolid, Spain. One of our first programs in the 1990s was to help with the protection of the heritage in our region. Our region holds more than 50% of the Spanish heritage, and when we began our activities, the heritage was quite at high risk. There was always a big risk of thieves, but most dangerous issues for our heritage were, still are, and most likely will still be in the future. Number one, the time passing by and the action of natural elements, sunlight and humidity mostly, and chemical pollution. Number two, the lack of conservancy in a proper way. Number three, the lack of professionals capable to address and execute conservation and restoration as soon as it is needed. For sure, all these points are already taken care of in any museum, but out there in our society where most of our cultural heritage is, these tasks are paramount. They are not just addressed in most countries, and oftentimes goes backwards. An eye-opener example could be when the last year, July 2021, the UNESCO convention held in Fuzhou, China, removed Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City from the World Heritage List due to an irreversible loss of the historical value of its Victorian docks. Museums' collections are limited to their walls, but museums in this century must keep relevant and be a beacon to go beyond their physical limits. They can take the lead on advocating for this subject because the society at large has the responsibility not just to protect our cultural heritage, but to pass it on to future generations in better conditions. This task will be impossible to carry on just for museums, and that's why we need a private sector. In order to tackle this, we need more experts, and this is precisely how we contributed to the protection of our heritage. By teaming up with Universidad de León and creating the School of Art Conservation and Restoration, ESR, we deliver new professionals that now convey on this critical mission. Our approach is hands-on and focused on practice since the very beginning of the students' education until their graduation. In these photos, we can see the students working with some artworks. During the 1990s and the early 2000s, we brought dozens of professionals every year whom were able to protect our heritage professionally and with the latest research and technology. Since the first year, we made summer campaigns, immersions where students and professors worked together for a month in a major site to restore a church or a large collection of artworks. These group interactions create the best learning tools as well as the best results for our cultural heritage, creating strong professional networks and trusted relationships. We advocate to this model not just for a small region, but elsewhere in China, Europe, America, and the rest of the world. Museums and government can partner with private institutions like ours to share knowledge, human resources, conservation, and educational programs to serve more niches in our society and advocating for a better conservancy and protection of our cultural heritage. In a practical way, we also need to create more shared databases. Normally, museums' databases are in silos that are not interconnected or easily accessed. On the other side, private sector should share their professional restoration studies with museums. These studies are also in silos mostly. I would like to illustrate this with a great example achieving this kind of sharing. The Interpol app, ID Art, This app connects the Interpol Stolen Art Pieces database, currently around 50,000 pieces, with everyone. The app additionally allowed us to create and upload art pieces within the app for our own collections and keep them in their database. In the worst case, a robbery, it will be able to share the stolen pieces information directly with the Interpol. We are just at the beginning of the digitalization, and new technologies like blockchains are to our advantage to fight against crimes. With more transparency, easy access, less silos, we will make criminals harder to act. Technology will not just help art professionals but the society at large. I want to finish by expressing my gratitude to David Gossett and his team for the invitation and the organization of this fantastic dialogue. I'm also thankful to Bin Zhao. Thank you all for your attention and wish you enjoy the rest of today's program.